This is a Stock Trading Reality Podcast, episode 184.
And it was pretty cool just being able to sit down with them and see how my grandfather and his financial advisor went about looking over his retirement portfolio and stuff.
This is the Stock Trading Reality Podcast, where you get to see the realistic side of a trader's journey. Get inspired and stay motivated by everyday normal people who are currently on their journey to trading success. And this is your host. Trouble sleeping? Try the essential oil of peppermint. Clay Trader.
I will be the first to admit, I thought it was a scam. I would give my wife such a hard time. I mean, I don't think it was mockery, but maybe I pressed a few buttons and just kind of was like, give me a break. But recently, I had the worst headache ever. And my wife was like, hey, try peppermint. I'm telling you, Clay, these essential oils, they'll work. You just rub it on your temples and all right, whatever. My head feels like somebody is using it as a basketball. Fine. Give me this essential oil nonsense. She rubbed some peppermint on my temples and holy smokes, I was instantly like relaxed. The smell. So I don't know. Maybe it was, well aware, maybe it was the placebo effect. But hey, sign me up for the placebo effect. If the placebo effect made the headache just kind of dissipate and me be able to relax and actually fall asleep. So yes, I am a believer in essential oils, and I haven't done much at the time of this recording. My only experience is with peppermint. I've heard lavender, if that helps with sleep and stuff too. But I mean, if you do have trouble sleeping, maybe give some peppermint oil a try, rub it on your temples. I mean, it definitely worked for me. And like I said, placebo effect or not, I don't know, but it worked. So my question to the esteemed co-host known as Ches around here, have you ever used essential oils? Are you familiar with them at all? Or am I just kind of talking nonsense right now?
Well, first off, when you have a pounding headache, the man of science, the man of math, Mr. Clay Trader himself must have been in so much pain that he was going to let, your wife rub peppermint oil on your temples. But I'm just glad it worked. But no, actually, Kelly's been a big fan of essential oils. We use them. I actually have one in my bedroom that has like calming scent at night and stuff like that. But no, it was more Kelly's thing. But honestly, I'm just happy to hear that worked, whether it was placebo effect or not. I got nothing against it, but you did forget to mention, now that you are so big into essential oils that this podcast is sponsored by doTERRA. So you need to kind of give out the legal disclaimer that, our podcast is not paid for by essential oils. So just put that out there.
That is true. And, that's funny. Yeah. But, are there a lot of brands out there? Do you know? Or is that like the big one?
I just know the doTERRA one is like, I have one, my neighbor has one. I think that's like one of the main brands or something like that. But yes, I had to Google essential oils to remember what the name of the brand is. So I guess I'm not the biggest believer. However, I don't mind them at all. They make the house smell great. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm a believer now, and all I know is it worked, and we'll just leave it at that. Moving into our episode today, have what turned out to be I didn't think he was not going to be a great guest, but it turned out to be a great interview. Kainoa is his name. He goes by the same alias in the chat room, and we go through quite a bit. Ches, I kind of blame him because he noticed a potential problem and offered up a solution, and then I just grabbed onto that solution, and what turned out to supposed to be 2 cents turned out to be, I don't know, a whole lot more than 2 cents. But I think kind of he might have just been polite. But there's a lot of good stuff to learn within this. So even if you are not in Kainoa's exact situation, there's a lot of mental things going on. There's a lot of emotional things that I think that most people will be able to relate to. And like I said, Ches and I throw out some potential solutions that may be, something that is missing from your equation, is missing from what you're trying to accomplish. And I want to throw this out at the beginning. Maybe it's a spoiler, but things, especially on my end, seem very dreary. Oh, you got to do, Kainoa, you got to. But the kid, I'm going to call him kid. He's 25. So the kid is net green. Like, he is green. His account is growing. So this is not like a situation where it's the end of the world because his accounts are being blown up. I mean, it is green, and I feel like that gets lost a little bit in the shuffle of things. So we're dealing with a situation where it kind of comes across as super dire, but it's also a situation where it's one I think a lot of people would love to have the situation of being net green. So don't let that get lost either. But with that being said, let's sit down and talk and have a great time with Kainoa. Kainoa, welcome to the show.
Hey, Clay. Thanks very much for having me.
Yeah, and we just discussed this. You knew this because I've told you this in live webinars before, but I'm pretty sure, not pretty sure, I know Kainoa, and then we have another member named Croy, and I think they have the coolest names in our community. I mean, Kainoa, that's probably going to take that's just a flat out warrior name. Like Kainoa, if I met you in if I'm like, wait, I'm meeting a guy named Kainoa in a dark alley, I would wave the white flag right away. But Ches, where do you stand in this matter? Are you this is kind of stupid. What are you going to sit here and say? No, I don't like his name. But I mean,
yeah, it's pretty mediocre name, like Mike in the 80s, it wasn't common at all. Yes, it's an awesome name.
Ches, now we're going to get a bunch of Mikes that were born in the 80s sending us hate. Oh, great. Here we go, Ches.
It's okay. It's us. We're all brothers in name, so that's fine. I'll diffuse that situation.
All right, good. As long as you have some sort of philosophical route you can take those people down, then fantastic. But Kainoa, thank you very much for being here. Actually, him and I, this is kind of our warm-up because after this, he's a Clay Trader University member, and he's going to allow me to interview him about a trade he made last week in great detail, and then let other members of the community ask him. That's kind of one of the things that come along with Clay Trader University is the live webinars. And once in a while, when people are able and willing, as Kainoa is, they will let me interview them, like I said, in depth about a trade. So we are doing that immediately after we finish recording this. So me and you, Kainoa, we're going to become best buds here over the next basically a couple of hours. So I hope you're ready for it. I hope you I don't drive you too crazy. But with that being said, where did all this start for you? Where did you hear about the markets, and what got you interested enough to the point where you're like, you know what, I want to get a little bit more hands on with this, and I want to just kind of give this a go.
Yeah. So I feel like when I was growing up, I always generally knew that the stock market existed. There was a class in high school. It wasn't necessarily a class, but just one semester, a group of us got together and we were online and we were sort of learning about investing, and we would kind of create a portfolio. But I barely participated in it, and I don't think I took it very seriously at the time. But after that, in July of 2013, I was a sophomore in college, and I had a meeting with my grandfather and his financial advisor over at Ameriprise, and I witnessed my grandfather buy 100 shares of Tesla at $125, and it was pretty cool just being able to sit down with them and see how my grandfather and his financial advisor went about looking over his retirement portfolio and stuff. And then during that meeting, the financial advisor would go on to explain to me how he runs his business and kind of like what his product is. I remember he whipped out his calculator to show me how compounding interest works. And of course, when I told him, if I wanted to save this amount of money per month, how much money would I have by the time I retired? And my eyes lit up when I saw a big number.
That is the beauty of compounding interest. But first off, you were not alone when you had that finance class in school and didn't pay much attention to it. However, Clay, I'm still going to hold you this. I don't know of anybody who's actually. I didn't know about penny stocks in high school, so I guess nobody even tried to do that. I guess when we did it, it was all just pretty much by Ford or Boeing or something like that. But yeah, I think it's pretty cool that your grandfather also kind of had you sit down with a kind of financial planner and things like that at kind of a relatively young age. College isn't the youngest for sure, but it's still nice to kind of see that at a pretty young age. So where'd everything go from there?
Yeah. So actually, a couple of years after that, when I graduated from school in 2015, my grandfather gave me $1,000 as a graduation gift to invest through that financial advisor. So I gave that advisor $1,000, but I really didn't have any knowledge of what the money was being put into. I didn't keep any close communication with him. And then about a year and a half later, I closed that account with him and only got $970 back. So it
And that
goes to
was
show.
probably, yeah, that
I
was
was gonna
probably
say the
mainly
fees. Yeah, let's get into the
Yeah,
fees
Yeah.
here. Yeah, exactly.
yeah. But
That was exactly it.
what was you had mentioned when you sat down? First, I guess, kind of backtracking a little bit. What was, how did that meeting even come to play? Was your grandfather like, "Hey, Kainoa, I want, come with me," or did you express the interest first? Because I think that was a very wise move on your grandparents' part. So I mean, how exactly did that come together? Was that you asking, or is him kind of throwing out the offer? But how did
It
that
was
meeting come together?
it was definitely him because my grandfather was always financially responsible, and so he always emphasized how important it was to start saving for retirement relatively early. And so when he had me come along with that meeting, I was definitely really excited because I've always been interested in, like financial responsibility and stuff like that.
And that's I'm gonna calmly address this, and I'm mainly talking to myself. So to you listeners, Kainoa, Ches, don't get too scared. But I mean, that's what we call in this country parenting, or in this case, grandparenting. I have
Don't
a
use
feel.
such slander in here like that.
Yeah, but I have a feeling that that meeting that his grandparent took on his shoulder, like, let me show my grandson this because I want him to actually know how money works, is going to. I mean, you're still a young kid, but I mean that's going to serve you well over the course of your entire life. So, and like I said, I'm talking to myself. Parents, we have a job to do, and it's to teach our kids some practical skills in life. And practical skills being, how do you get ahead in life? How do you not have to slave away for the rest of your life because all your money, I'm trying to keep it G-rated. You don't urinate away all your money because you have to go and buy.
That's pretty good G-rated. Nice job on that.
There we go. I'm keeping it scientific too. Not only am I G-rated, but I'm scientific. But so is your grandfather still with us, or is he?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, shout out to Kainoa's grandfather. You're a good role model of what parenting and grandparenting is all about. So, yeah, that's good stuff. And I'm trying not to get too sappy, but this country could use a little bit more of, the system will teach little Kainoa no, the system's not going to teach anybody anything, okay? So, well done to your grandfather. And I don't even know how I got on this rant, but I like your grandfather. I guess that's the moral of the story here. But, so you have, oh yeah, that's right. I asked you how it came together. So he was like, Kainoa, come with me. That caught your interest. And then you said he bought 100 shares of Tesla. So is this like him picking up a phone and calling? Your grandfather sounds kind of old school with the way he bought stock, or am I misunderstanding something?
This was actually during the meeting with the financial advisor. So as I'm sitting there with my grandfather and my financial advisor, he's telling him that he wants to buy 100 shares. And then the financial advisor goes on to put the order in. I'm not sure exactly how he did it, but I knew after that, my grandfather owned 100 shares of Tesla portfolio.
Oh man, Chaz, that sounds like broker assisted, aka the fees on that might have been rough, but
yeah,
that's okay. Let's get his grandpa on here. Why don't you send him a mic, Nate, when you hear this?
Yeah,
and,
no kidding. But that's true. The grandfather sounds kind of like a baller. I mean, 100 shares of $120 stock when Tesla was there. I mean, well done, Kainoa's grandpa. And again, do you know if he's still holding those 100 shares? By the way.
No, he sold them a while ago. I don't know when specifically, but I do know that he definitely made some money on it.
Yeah, I would say like probably over 100%. Once again, Ches, I think I'm going to speak for you too. We like Kainoa. We're a proud sponsor of Kainoa's grandfather here on this show.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, that's good stuff. So, all right. Anyways, back to you. You took the meeting after that. You were like, all right, I'm sorry if I missed it, but did you say why you ultimately chose to close that account down?
It was a matter of, one, just because I wasn't necessarily managing it through him or anything, and I kind of wanted to have the money to either put towards student loans or, I just kind of needed money back in my pocket, so I decided to ultimately close that account. And I knew that in the long run, after I started to look into the markets, I would rather manage my own retirement portfolio, and I knew I didn't want to be paying fees to have someone else be doing that.
Okay, so that makes sense. So you weren't doing it necessarily per se because you were just, oh, I love this market thing. I want to get involved right now. It was more of, oh, this market thing's cool. I want to get in, or I want to get involved with it. But first, I want to use that money for a couple other things, such as student loans. Is that pretty much a fair assessment?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so you get that money. It goes to wherever you deemed it needed to go. And then what kind of eventually brought you back into the market in the sense of, okay, now let's tackle this and give it a go on my own.
Yeah, so it was in November of 2016. I remember I was on social media and I saw some post from a kid I went to high school with, and this kid was really smart. He was like he had a lot of experience coding and stuff like that. And I saw him post. He created this like MATLAB GUI that he designed for trading, and I saw it had some candlesticks on it, and that he was making extra money. And I sent him an email asking him what that was, and he just mentioned that he was like doing some day trading. And at this time, I had no idea what day trading was. But the first thing I thought was, oh, if he's doing something like this, and he's making some extra money, then I feel like I could be able to do that too. Um, so I went online and I started looking up what day trading was. And of course, I was seeing videos on YouTube of these guys who were making humongous gains. And obviously, I was like attracted to that at first. Um, so I was watching a bunch of these videos. However, right at this moment, I knew that because these guys were making money at home, I figured like, well, this is what I'm gonna want to be doing. Um, so at that point forward, I decided that I know that I want to be able to do day trading as a living, and because these guys can do it, I feel like I can be able to do it too. But before I got involved, I knew I wanted to learn how about doing it properly. A lot of these gurus, if you will, they market these courses that they sell, but I wasn't willing to invest in my education through them just because they seemed a little shady to me.
All right, now, tell listeners this why they felt shady to you, because I assure you, at some point, I had looked at some of these quote unquote gurus, and I was like, "Oh yeah, this seems logical." But I think that was more so because I was in a desperate situation, and what stood out to you specifically? Because I hope some listeners hear this and kind of raise some red flags if they're considering forking their money on some stuff like that.
Yeah, it's important to be aware when someone is kind of I don't know what the appropriate word I'm looking for is.
Too good to be true?
Yeah, exactly. And it just seemed like they were selling a lifestyle that, right, like you said, it was too good to be true. So I wasn't necessarily falling for, they would be like, oh, follow my strategy and I'll make you rich. I wasn't going to fall for that. But that's what I felt a lot of them were trying to sell. They're trying to sell that type of product where you kind of just trade behind them, you listen to their alerts, and then you make money. But it just didn't seem like to me.
Yeah, and they failed to mention that they're making money because people are paying them for their alerts, and
right.
And that's it. I'm pretty sure, and I think sometimes people, this is all coming from because somebody on YouTube was like, Clay, you say all this stuff about other people, but I've never heard anybody say that they are guaranteed to make me rich. And I said, okay, you're taking things a little too upfront. Nobody out there is going to be like, hey, you're going to get rich overnight if you buy this, and I can guarantee that. That's not what Ches and I or Kanai is saying, but there is this vibe that they can give off where, that's illegal. You can't sit there and be like, hey, I guarantee gains in the market. That's the SEC frowns poorly upon guaranteed promise gains, but it's all about what impression are they giving you? And if the impression you get, like Noah is saying, is, wow, if I learn their system, and they say their system is going to be hard work. Well, yeah, I'm ready to work hard, but it's their system that's going to be the hard work. But if I just learn their system, then that's all that it takes. And then I'm going to, I guess just by logic, since it's their system and since they're portraying all this stuff, that means that I'm going to have that too. I mean, that's what they're doing. That's called selling the dream. They're not going to sit. They know people aren't in this day and age. This isn't like the 80s infomercials where they know that stuff doesn't work. So, but they're going to be out there and make, they're going to imply certain things. And is that what you're kind of saying, Kaino, is what you felt shaky was, okay, sure, they're not straight up telling me, yeah, I'm going to get rich overnight, but they're giving me this feeling that they seem to be implying that if I follow them, that I will get what they have. Is that essentially what was making you uneasy and what the vibe you were getting?
Yeah, that was exactly the case. And then I came across your YouTube channel, and immediately
the one where he's in the Lamborghini with the girl in the bikini.
Yeah, you're gonna have
to.
Yeah, no? Which one are you talking about?
Yeah, which one?
Yeah, or is this the one where I'm up in palm trees? I can't remember.
Yeah, throwing cash everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, I came across your YouTube channel and I was just immediately like resonated with the type of videos you were making. And I remember I was writing down notes and I was watching like every single video on your I think it's called the Trading 101 playlist.
Ah, yes, for beginners, yes.
Yeah, and so I was just going through there, and I really liked your teaching style and how you kind of dumbed everything down to step by step, and you made everything really easy to understand. So kind of right away, I was hooked onto your YouTube channel, and I was watching a bunch of your videos. And at this point, because I knew that this is something that I want to seriously pursue, it really didn't take much hesitation for me to invest in your CTU course. So, yeah, in December of 2016, I bought CTU.
Really? You've been around that? I mean, I know you've been around for a while, but I would be lying if I knew that you've been around for that long. You've been around for quite a while then.
Yeah. So yeah, I bought CTU, and I was really excited to start buckling down and learning, and I really liked how the whole entire CTU course program is structured, the way you structured it, all the way from the beginning, like robotic trading, and then transitioning to all the advanced stuff, like the advanced options stuff. So what I started to do is I started watching all the courses, and I would actually type up notes, literally word for everything that was on your courses. So right now I have like a humongous binder of all these notes that I've typed up, pretty much everything from CTU in them. And then I would rewatch all the courses again and handwrite notes on top of the notes that I already typed out. And after watching all the courses, that took about 3 to 4 months, doing all that.
How many hours per day? Maybe I misunderstood. You typed out word for word what I said?
Yep.
And that took 3 to 4 months, which seems kind of. I mean, are you talking about like all the courses or just kind of like the core ones?
I currently have all your courses like typed out.
That's Chez. I think we have. I'm pretty sure we don't have any guests that was their study format, was literally typing out word for word what I said. Am I right in thinking that, Chez?
No, I think you're absolutely right in thinking that. But yeah, that's some dedication. I'm even blown away that you were able to do that in just a couple of months. So that's a lot of content.
Yeah. So yeah, that which circles back. Thank you, Chez. So how many hours a day were you putting into this then?
Well, actually, I didn't have all of them typed out within 3 or 4 months, but
okay.
It was like I had most of them typed out, but over the course of up until now, some courses I would have typed out more. But more so, it took 3 or 4 months before I felt like I was ready to start trading, and by that point, I had the majority of the courses gone through.
All right, I think this is fascinating, but because remember, to listeners out there, if you're brand new, quick history lesson here. The idea behind this podcast was always just intended for the community itself. But then Chez and I were like, we might as well just open it up to everybody. We're only going to have guests from the community on it, but everybody can listen. So the reason I bring that up is because there are a lot of community members that listen to this, obviously. So I want to kind of walk us through exactly. So let's just do robotic trading. Robotic trading step 1 was what? You just went through the course first, just the videos, or were you typing up like from the first time you watched the video? How basically what I'm trying to get across is I want to break down how you actually studied, because it sounds like you took things the proper way and took your time. But ways people approach studying and learning, I think some people could learn from this. So don't worry about being too detailed. But so we're using a robotic trading as the example. Video 1. How did you actually go about that?
Yeah, so it was a combination of typing the notes while watching the video. So your courses are in like a presentation package, like PowerPoint, and so whatever you had on your slide, I would type out those notes, and I would even like do the right font and the right color scheme and all that. And I would go through the entire video course, either watching it while typing notes, or sometimes if I wasn't able to watch it, I would just go through the videos but not playing them, but I would look at each slide and write down the notes. And then I would, after I had the notes typed out and printed, I would go back and restart the video. And then during the video, I would handwrite notes on the notes I already typed out, and kind of just I would catch extra points that you would mention, out loud and stuff like that.
Okay, that's good stuff. And for you,
dedication.
Yeah, for you listeners that remember what comes with the course, like the slides, that's just mainly to serve as reminders for me. So what Kaino was saying makes perfect sense, because that's by design. Is there's more that's not on the slides, that because I've had a couple people like, I read through the slides. Did you listen to what I had to say though? Because those slides are just like reminders of general talking points, and then I talk, in some cases talk a little bit more. And so yeah, well done in writing that down. And Ches, I can only imagine how thick this binder is, or that he has of everything, because A, there's a lot of content in and of itself, and B, I kind of can talk a lot sometimes, especially when I'm trying to explain something. So
especially when you say something 3, 4, 10, 12, 17 times. So yeah, I mean, but that repetition, I mean, you can't deny it.
Yeah, interesting. So anyways, keep going. So you would print stuff out and handwrite notes down, and then did you consider it done, or did you go through the video another final time?
No, after that, I would consider it done after I went through the video a second time, and I wrote down all the notes I wanted. And mainly I did this because, one, I felt like it was more helpful learning the information and really engraving it in my head, after typing it and then writing it. And I wanted to have notes available to me to reference, if I needed to look back at notes and look at it. So I had notes available. But yeah, after that time frame, after going through all the courses, it was March of 2016. I opened up an account with Interactive Brokers, and just based on all the information you provide, I decided that I wanted to start with options, because of just all the benefits that you talked about when it came to trading options. I didn't necessarily have a lot of capital, so I felt like options was a good point for me to start, with the capital that I had. And then
Now, so so you go through the courses now. Now, how exactly are you paper trading this before you decide to go and actually kind of stick with options, or did you strictly like options because you kind of doesn't take a lot of capital to get a decent amount of exposure in some pretty big names?
Yeah, well, I have to say I didn't paper trade as much as I should have, because like I said, I knew that this is something that I want to do. I was really eager to start. So even though I knew that I had to learn how to trade first, I went through all the courses and stuff, and at that point, I felt like I was ready to trade. However, because I was so eager to get started, I didn't spend the time that I needed to really start paper trading before I traded live.
Gotcha.
Right. But like I said, because I had spent all the time going through the courses and all the notes and stuff, I felt like I was ready to go.
Yeah. So then, where'd you go from there?
Yeah, so in March of 2016, I opened an account with Interactive Brokers, and I was using TD Ameritrade's Thinkorswim for the technical analysis. Um, and in the very beginning, it started off well, like because I felt like I was fresh out of CTU, if you will. Um, I was good when it came to making trade plans and making sure that the RVR was um, logical, and always making a stop loss and all that good stuff. Um, but again, a lot my emotions, especially in the beginning, were definitely getting the best of me, um, because I was so eager and impatient to. Because the way I was approaching this is I want to make enough money to be able to do this. I can transition from my job to doing this full time. So it would lead me to be too aggressive when it came to getting into positions, and ultimately just led to kind of creating some bad habits and some well-deserved learning lessons. Um,
All right, so let's dig into these bad habits and learning experiences, because that's where we really kind of get our bang for our buck here in terms of new people who might be listening. So, uh, bad habits, and what did it lead to?
yeah, so initially I like doing the intraday trading. So I was attempting to trade the options on my phone. I work a full-time job, but I would be on my phone and I would start to, look for a setup and try to trade through my phone. But sometimes, like, I would either do too big of a position size, and just because I was so focused on trying to make money, I was completely disregarding all the risk management that I was been taught. Um, and so I would look at a setup, and to me, it would look like a good setup. And usually, I would, I might have taken too big of a position, take on too many contracts, and not really considering the worst case scenario, if the trade starts to go against me. And so there were a couple trades in the beginning where I, of course, I get in, and I didn't use a stop loss, and it starts to get against me, and all the voices are coming in my head thinking that, oh, it's going to turn around. Then eventually the loss becomes too big where I need to accept that I'm wrong and get out. Um, and then those losses would lead to revenge trading, where I would essentially just repeat the same thing, um, kind of get too aggressive and just try to make back my loss. But again, because I was getting emotional, I wasn't really thinking clearly and thinking about the actual risk management that I need to be taking on. So it
This
just
this is good stuff, and it kind of hobby's probably not the right word, but I like to try to figure out, all right, what's the root cause of these emotions and illogical actions on your part, which are illogical. I mean, too big
yeah
position size, not unit stop loss, and it sounds like we have another case of just the cruelty of the market, where it takes passion to have success in the markets, but passion also works against you, because in this case, your passion, your desire to succeed. And I mean, do you like what you do for work? My guess is you're not a huge fan of what you do for a job. Is that a fair statement, or am I
yeah
wrong?
yeah. So I mean, I'm completely aware of what emotions I'm dealing with. Um, I mean, I like my job. I'm thankful for my job, but my goal is to, I really want to be able to be self-employed and just live a comfortable lifestyle. And I know that trading will be my way of being able to do that. Um, so I got completely fixated on the idea that, now that I felt at the time that I knew how to trade because I took through all the courses, um, I felt like I was ready to start doing this, and it was just a matter of making enough money to reach the point where I can quit my job. Um, but because I wasn't at that point yet, I was too eager to, like I said, make money, and it would just sort of lead me in the very wrong mindset of approaching trades and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, for sure. When
Um,
you go into, I want to make money, so I can be successful and I can be my own boss and I can, do my own thing. That's totally different than, you know what, let's just go with the flow. And I'm here to make money, but right now I'm here to focus on good habits and building good habits. There's just such a difference there, because building good habits, it's like, well, that's not, that's good, but I'd rather just like make money. So listeners out there, just be very, very aware that that's great that, even if you like it's 10 times worse if you hate your job, because when people don't like their job and then they want to do the trading thing, talk about forced trades, because and this is with Clay Trader University, without it, with some other program, you got to be very aware of your situation. And a key question that you as a listener need to ask yourself is, how do I feel about my job? And if you're like, hey, I love my job, that's good. It'll still be difficult. But if you're like, I can't stand my job, realize right now that you're going to meet this voice, and this voice is going to pretty much do exactly what Kainoa has been describing, except it's going to be like a voice on steroids that's like, let's go. Okay, there's a trade right there. Throw it all in, because I hate the
get it,
because I can't. Yeah, so it's and we're saying this kind of jokingly, but it's a very real thing. So as cruel as it is, the more you hate your job, the harder it is going to be to get to your job, to your goals, because you're going to want to just force things that much more. So just be very aware. And Kainoa, you did a great job of explaining exactly how it works. But to hear that you actually enjoy your job, I would have guessed that you're not a huge fan of your job, because if you're that want to get it out of the way that much, but it just sounds like you want to succeed and be out on your own that much, that is kind of the driving force. But good recognition.
Yeah, I think I was being a little too nice. I would go with more the latter.
You're not a huge fan of your job.
Yeah.
Okay.
But at the same time, I can't complain, because it is a good job. But
yeah, I get what you're saying. You don't want to come across as ungrateful, but it's still not like a dream type job. So I appreciate where you're coming from, and from not being like some entitled and you don't come across like that at all. I get it. Some people, they just, hey, I want to be I want to be my own boss. I want to, have total freedom. So I get what you're saying. So you go through this, it doesn't really turn out too well. Now you're talking about all this in hindsight. So now you know what the problem was, but at the time, were you just totally confused on what was going on, or did you kind of realize what you were doing, in the heat of the moment?
I realized what I was doing, and I'm still struggling with it now. Just because, like I said, even though I've been working at this for a year now, I'm still working at it, and I'm still kind of tackling those emotions when it comes to not forcing trades, taking them as they come. And I know eventually I'll reach the goal where I will be able to not have to work the full-time job anymore. But I gotta take it as it comes, and not force things.
It definitely takes time as well. Now, riddle me this, though, because this might help in terms of, sticking to the plan. Do you have a written out plan? Because obviously you have a ton of writing. You have binders and everything. Do you have a written out trade plan for what you specifically look for to trade, or no?
Not necessarily, and I definitely should. I have a general idea what I want to be trading, but I don't have it set in stone on what I should be doing and how to go about doing it. But actually, as I was preparing for this podcast, I was thinking about how that's something I need to do.
Yeah, absolutely. The only reason why I brought that up is because, don't get me wrong, by no means is if everybody writes down, I want to buy when stocks are going up. That's not going to be the most successful trade plan that people can have. But at the same time, considering how you studied it and how you've kind of gone through the material, I think it'd actually be quite a big benefit for you. And I don't know, would you agree with that, Clay, or no?
Well, the thing that stood out to me, which awesome question, Ches, awesome suggestion, but
I'm the best.
Yeah, you are the best. What can I say? But Kainoa, you said, I have a general understanding of what I want to trade. General understanding, that to me, there's too much gray area there, because what exactly falls under that? Well, I guess that falls under it. So here we go. I'm going to make that trade, and all of a sudden you have another forced trade on your hands. Whereas if you almost went to an extreme, at this case, I'm not. Where I'm looking for this setup. It needs to show, and you're actually pretty much a general understanding. That's general's
I
not good
guess
at your
by
stage. You know what I mean?
yeah, by general I mean what type of trading I want to do. And I
Which is
like
what?
doing the intraday trading,
Okay.
um, like just the scalping, and RVR trading. I know you primarily do the it's like the overextended plays,
Right. Yep.
and where you can like build a position and stuff like that. I'm not necessarily doing that, but I would like to be doing the RVR trades in an intraday time frame.
Okay, so right there, that's a
Um,
good. I'd say at the peak, right there is because you start. That's good. So let's narrow
that's what I
down the
meant.
word general. It's you want to do scalping, but even within the family of scalping, which you've correctly identified, there's many different ways you can go about scalping. But you want to do RVR scalping. So that's the sort of setup that you're looking for. So that's and then
Yep.
within that, do you have any sort of certain setups that you like to focus on, or that you think work better than other ones?
Um, Not necessarily any setups in particular, but just just based on what the chart is doing. I feel like I'm comfortable going either long or short. Just depends what it's doing and depends what the setup is.
So can I make
Um,
a suggestion to you? Because I get it. It's your
Absolutely,
account.
please do.
Okay. So, and Chez, you can chime in here too. But I would challenge you. You know what? Kind of let's on the grateful note. Let's be grateful for what you do have. You do have a job, and sure, the job is not like your dream job. But my point here is it's alleviating pressure. You have money coming in. So, how old are you? You're younger, right?
I'm
20,
25.
25. So listen, man, how old am I? I'm 34. So I got 9 years on you. I assure you, I promise you that at age 34, you're going to be like, man, I got so much time left in life, because I do. Because we have this, all of us traders, at least in our community, we're going to be the go-getters. I assure you that in 9 years, you're going to be like, hey, let's go. There's plenty of time. I got time. So my point is this: is you truly do have plenty of time. You have a job that's producing income, so it's not like you're where's the money for the bills gonna get paid? So why don't you do this? And I realize that it'll slow things down, but why don't you pick a couple setups and be like, you know what? I'm only gonna trade. I don't know. I'm just making this up. A descending triangle and a bear river. So I'm looking for that breakdown. And then you focus on that for the short side. And then alongside, you pick some other sort of pattern that you want, and you only trade those. That way it becomes very black and white if you're forcing a trade or not. Because I know that you know what a descending triangle is. I know that you know what a bear river is. So it's going to be pretty cut and dry of if you are breaking outside of that. And I get it. There could be other profitable trades, but right now I think that and I'm going to speak bluntly to you just because I think you're a little too overconfident in your ability of just kind of taking what the chart's showing me. Because if your chart vision wasn't as locked in as it needs to be, then you wouldn't be forcing trades, because it's, and I'm not saying this to pat myself on the back, but for my strategy, in my mind, it's like super black and white. It's like, yeah, that doesn't fit anything. And that doesn't fit it. Nope, that does. Oh, there we go. That fits it, and I will act on it. But I think you're playing a little too loose with the rules, if you will, and that's what's causing you. So you factor in you're playing loose with the rules, and then you have that background of, I don't like my job really, so let's get going. So that's trickling in, and then all of a sudden, your chart vision is getting corrupted, and all of a sudden you're probably seeing things that don't really exist because you don't have exact. You don't have, like I said, like Ches was saying, a business plan where right now if you're like, I'm only trading descending triangles and bear rivers, that's the only thing Ches, am I making any sense right now?
No, you absolutely
are.
No, keep going.
Okay, so does that make sense to you though, Kainoa, in the sense of, I know if you limit yourself to only certain patterns, well then you're not going to be able to trade as much, which in your mind might think, well, great, now I'm slowing down to getting to where I want to go because I can't trade as much if I can only focus on. But in the long run, if you nail down certain patterns and truly nail them down and then bring in another pattern, before you know it, you're going to be like, hey, I have cut and dry rules for like 5 separate patterns out there, and I know how to trade them, in my sleep now because I have very stringent rules to go with them. So I get it. It feels like you may be slowing yourself down, but you have plenty of time anyways, and it's actually not slowing you down. It'll speed you up in the back end. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. That's exactly what I need to work on for
Okay.
sure.
Okay. So, I mean, you can tell me to shut my mouth at any time because I know I can be opinionated and I know I can maybe offer more than 2 cents. But that's kind of what I've. Jez, do you have anything that you want to throw in that you've maybe observed? Your business plan was brilliant, but I mean, anything else that you've observed that you might be able to benefit?
No, I just think the benefit of the business plan was in, I believe it's going to be the previous podcast that aired. It was strictly a criteria from Volcano or Trampoline. It's just like a set rules. It's yes or no. There is no gray. And when you remove the gray, sure, you're going to be taking less trades, which right now is going to feel crappy because you're like, oh, well, that would have worked if I'd taken it. However, in the long term, that's what I really think, kind of leads to success. It's not this ambiguity. It's not some mystical art form. It's a pretty much familiarity with something you're good. It's pressing your edge. So that's just my thoughts.
And just for clarity's sake, I mean, right now, I feel like we're treating like you're the worst human being ever in terms of trading, but you never have really even told us. Yeah, you're still working on things, but I mean, how is your overall trading going? I mean, are you in a small downtrend? Are you kind of holding even? Are you in a small, slow uptrend? I mean, how is your actual trading going? Because I mean, we're all going to struggle, but now that I think about it, I mean, you haven't even necessarily told us how, from a macro sense, how the trading account is actually doing.
Yeah, so I am net positive, but I would categorize my trading as sloppy. Just exactly like you pointed out, by not necessarily have a hard cut defined plan, and sometimes, like you said, because I'm so eager to trade, I kind of take a trade on a wide variety of setups. But because I'm almost trying too hard, I would say that trading in general has been kind of like sloppy. Um, but after when I first started and I felt like I had those losses and hard lessons, I took a step back from the market and spent some time. I just realized that I needed to practice more. So I started going through all the archive webinars one by one and just taking notes on each one. Um, and because I work a full-time job, I wanted to get involved with the advanced option strategies. So I did some of those for a couple months and had some success. But because like I said, I want to do the intraday scalping, I haven't taken on any advanced option strategy trades as of recently, and as of right now, and I know this isn't the most practical way for me to be approaching the market because I have the full time job, and also I am subject to the pattern day trader rule. Um, because depending on my job schedule, sometimes I'm able to be home one day a week or one day every 2 weeks. And when I'm home, I will day trade on my computer. Um, so as of right now, I'm making maybe 3 trades every week or 2 weeks, and because I still struggling with the emotions of like, okay, I want to do really well at this, and I want to get to the point where I can quit my job. I'm still forcing trades sometimes, especially with only being limited to 3 trades. Um, Sometimes when my first trade, I will kind of force and I'll take a small loss on it, and then I'll get ready and already make another trade. Because I'm only home that one day a week, I feel like I need to trade. Um, and then
Now, riddle me this here. I'm sorry to cut you off, but it's just kind of occurred to me. Me personally, I think people under PDT rule, I always recommend advanced options, especially if you work any kind of job where you cannot be actively at the computer. And I get it. Your aspirations are to day trade. Like, you understand what you want to do. Have you ever considered kind of using your trading capital and say advanced options only, and then, I don't know, even funding or just using a paper account? It's probably better if you put a little bit of money on the line. day trading Forex with the Asia Open, or, I don't recommend you stay up until Europe's open, but you ever consider something like that where you can hone your skills on just a different product when, say, the market is still alive, it's just not the U.S. market per se?
I haven't considered that, but that's a really good point because at this point I am leaning towards like I feel like I should go back to the advanced options just because it's more suitable for my current situation with working full time and stuff like that. But I'll definitely also like to look into that forex trading you mentioned because I do like the the short time frame type of trading.
So I may give my another 2 cents here, maybe 4 cents or $10. We'll see. But
Please
you're
do.
at a cool nickel at this point.
man, you've done the advanced options trading before, right? I understood that correctly.
Yep.
And you said those trades went well.
I had some success, and then I also took some silly losses too.
Overall, though, net
yeah.
green.
Yeah.
Okay. And the only reason you stopped was because, listen, I want to day trade. So that's basically the only reason why. And you have, it's a zero-sum game. So you had to take that money and then you moved it into, or, whether or not you moved it, but you decided to use that money for day trading. Am I following correctly?
Yeah.
Okay. So here we go. Bear with me here. You work a full-time job. How many hours is that?
40 hours a week.
40 hours a week. Okay. How bad do you really want to do like day trading type stuff? Like really bad?
Yeah.
Yeah. You really bad, dude. I'll answer that for you. I can tell by the way you're pulling. Because let's just stop and think about it. You're having success doing options day trading or options swing trading. Then all of a sudden, like, well, I'm net green. I should be even more green, except for those silly losses. But I don't care. I want to do a day trading. So it's very clearly you want to do day trading. So this is what I'm just humor me, okay? Are you single?
Yes.
Okay. You know where I'm headed with this, don't you? Okay. So 40 hours a week is your job. So why don't you deliver some pizzas or something? Like beast mode something with a part-time job or two. And I'm not even saying for like a year. Like let's say do this for the next 6 months. And you're all of a sudden, boom, look at all this cash I have all of a sudden right here. And you can take that and do exactly what Ches is talking about. And he said, you put a little bit of money in the game. I'm not even proposing that. I'm saying you have like a freaking day trading account right there. And that's going to help accomplish two things. One, it's going to be separate from your options guard, or not your options farm. So you're going to have all that stuff going on because you do have
farmers, not gardeners.
Yeah, you're a farmer. You're going to have all that going on during your daytime job, and you've already had success with that. If you buckle down even more, you'll get that much more success. So you have that going on. But then, whether it's Forex or maybe some sort of futures, but something, after your 40 hours. And then after, it's only a part-time job. So you're going to have some nights where you're going to have like a literal account right there that you can do more of this day trading thing with. But here's the cool thing about this is you're going to be like, listen, I already work 40 hours a week and I've been delivering pizzas. I've been mowing lawns. I've been, busting tables. I've been washing dishes for this money here. I am not going to flush this money down the toilet because this has been super annoying to get. Like I've gotten this money after my 40-hour week job. So guess what that's going to cause you to do? You're going to be so crusty and grumpy with those rules. You're going to follow them to a T because that money was annoying to get in the first place. And before you know it, you're going to be like following really good rules. You're going to be having really good rules because you're going to value, I'm not saying you don't value your money right now, but you're going to value that money so much more. So because you value it, you're going to be following the rules. You're getting to do what you want to do, which is day trade scalping. But all this is going on while you got that, your advanced options farm up there, producing revenue. So like I said, that's kind of what I'm hearing is you're young, you're single. Now, if your full-time job was 60 hours a week, okay, fine. But 40 hours a week, that's only 8 hours a day. You still got 16 hours to work with if you catch my drift. You know what am I crazy suggesting this?
No, absolutely not. This is exactly what I should be hearing.
And you got a good work ethic, right? you clearly want to do this. So, I mean, I don't know. Ches, am I wrong? I mean, a part-time job to get some extra funds? I mean, with
No, I just think it's another data point in terms of kind of buckling down and, just putting your nose to it and kind of, there's a way to accomplish what he's trying to do.
exactly,
It's
yes,
just,
yeah, and that's kind of
that's exactly what it
and
is.
I'm trying to broker a solution here because it's very clear you want to do short-term day trading, and that's fine. But as I think deep down, given your situation, maybe, because I'll tell you what, the other thing that I meant to comment on is the absolute worst thing that you could have right now, honestly, is that one day where you can work from home. And you already nailed why that's the case, because, well, okay, this is my one day I can sit at a computer. I have to trade. That's like the worst thing ever. And I speak from all sorts of experience when I was working for Honeywell full time, and you'd get like Christmas vacation or something. And like, okay, I have to trade because I have X amount of time.
And the lowest volume period of the year, too. Exactly.
So honestly, kind of, that's like not good. That where you have, I get it. It sounds good in theory. Hey, I can be home for a day and trade at my computer, but then you have that in the back of your mind, and there's no doubt in my mind that that's where some of the forcing trades are coming from too, because you just want to take advantage of what you think is convenient. So, I mean, that's my 2 cents. You have the greatest name ever, regardless. I think you're a cool guy. So, I mean, I'm still going to like you, even if you never take any of this advice. But that's just me sitting back, listening to what you have to say, and then kind of building upon Chez's observation about, business plan. So, I mean, that's kind of the business plan. I feel like if you, are willing to go out there and do a little bit of hustling, I don't know, man, go garage selling or something. I don't know. But
estate sales are a big thing.
But I mean, would you agree 40 hours a week? That's not exactly like you don't have any sort of life. I mean, it's 40 hours, it's 8 hours a day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I'm completely on board with everything you're saying, and I'm definitely aware of that and recognize that.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, it's up to you. I don't know, but if you despise, listen, at the end, any way you look at it, the more money you have in the market, the easier it is to make money. And for you listeners, what do you mean by that? Well, if you have $100 and you want to make $100, what percent return do you have to make on that $100? You have to double that, meaning you need 100% gain. What happens if you have $1,000, but you still want to make $100? What do you have to do? Well, now you only have to make 10%. And there you go. You got your $100. Let's say you have $10,000 and you want to make $100. What do you have to do? You only have to make 1%. So that's how the math works, in the sense of, look, if you want to make your life a little bit easier, the more money you have, the easier it is to make money. I mean, you still have to, that's within the boundaries of strategies and, all that. But even if you don't want to do the advanced, you have time in your schedule to beef up that account. And I mean, if you really went beast mode, I think you could get above pen or day trading rule quicker than what you think. Now that would assume that you'd be working a whole lot more than 40 hours a week, but I think you have some flexibility if you
it might seem like it's out of reach, but I'm telling you, it just starts to ramp up. It's like compounding interest. Once you're rolling at that speed and it's just the money's just coming in from that, side income, that side hustle, whatever it may be, you'll be over PDT before you know it, like Clay said.
Or you can go the other way that I don't know. There's lots of ways, but the good news here is that you're only at 40 hours a week, and there's a lot more hours in the week that you can work with to pull some cash in. But man, looking at the time,
absolutely.
Did we cover everything you wanted to, or did you want to make any other points or anything like that? I feel like I kind of hijacked the conversation, but I know that was good. You said you wanted 2 cents, so I gave you $25, but
you got a couple nickels
and a couple nickels. But I mean, I feel like we caught up. I mean, right now that's pretty accurate. Right now, that's kind of what you're struggling with. You're net green, but you just feel your trading is sloppy, and you're trying to tighten up the loose ends.
Yeah. I was kind of spending the last few months kind of doing this situation where I was only trading once a week. But I understand that's not necessarily the most practical way, and I want to transition back to the advanced options. As well as, like you said, I should consider picking up something on the side just to rake in some extra cash.
Yeah, absolutely. And at the end of the day, I'll speak for only myself. I'm being kind of melodramatic by going all this, but let's just keep things in perspective, you're net positive. You just realize your potential and you realize that things are sloppy. And there's a big difference, listeners, between sloppy and random. Kainoa is not saying he's out there just getting random results. He's doing random things. He's gambling, and he happens to be net positive. No, he's out there following things, but he just realizes they could be a little bit more efficient. And Ches and I, we talk about this all the time. But there are so many people out there that would just die to be like, wait, your biggest problem right now is sloppiness. My biggest problem is right now pure randomness, and I don't even know what I'm doing, and I'm super red, and I still don't know what's going on. Why am I red? You know, those market make. So Kainoa's, we're almost. I feel like it's like we're ringing the, the nuclear bombs are being dropped, ringing the bells, get to the bomb. But I mean, dude, you're still net green. So I appreciate the fact that you're hard on yourself. You should be hard on yourself, but at least take comfort in that. I mean, you're right, Ches. He's net green, for crying out loud. What else are we supposed to say?
Right. It's just that the pressure to be successful as fast as possible can sometimes be such a double-edged sword. It's just you got to figure out how to harness it. And like you said, I know 40 hours a week is technically a full week, but there's plenty more time in the week. And I'm telling you, you just keep up the dedication, and there's no need for any kind of despair. Like Clay said, you're net green. You're doing just fine. It's just part of the process.
Yeah, and I mean, trust me, there's a lot worse problems you could have than needing to clean up some sloppiness. I mean, some people be like, man, if sloppy means I'm still net green, I'll be sloppy all day long. But this is starting to sound weird. So, okay, here we go. Ches, my mind's. Do we usually ask Time Machine before fun questions? Don't we? Is that right?
I think we do.
Okay, go for it then, Ches. Yeah, there we go.
So, Kainoa, if I was to lend you my time machine, and man, you're not even that old to begin with, and you can go back to any period you would like and give yourself one piece of advice and not a buy or sell alert, because granted, we would have all bought Tesla in the $100 range. What would that advice be?
I think I would do not have rushed in after just finishing the courses, and definitely paper trading beforehand. I also wish I went through the trading webinars, because they're tremendously helpful, and it's just really helpful going through trades step by step. And so I wish I took more time doing that rather than kind of jumping in and getting emotional and just kind of forcing things and learning the hard way. But I definitely don't necessarily regret that, because those are definitely just lessons that I need to learn.
Yeah, and thank you for saying that, because that's a good reminder for those of you listening that are Clay Trader University members. Some people say that their favorite part are those live webinars. So some people find them super, super helpful. So just don't think that there's something that's just floating around out there that, I would say at least give them a try, because a lot of people really do find them helpful. So just keep that in mind for you members that kind of maybe have gone Kainoa's path, or you're just doing the courses and you think that's it. I mean, that's a good, definitely solid start, but Clay Trader University has definitely evolved, and I've learned that those are definitely a good solid complement to the courses themselves. So with that being said, Kainoa, we are going to move into some fun questions here. Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay. What is your favorite movie?
It's hard to say, but I think one of my favorites is Good Will Hunting. I like the story, and I thought it was a really well-made movie.
It's a good movie for sure. How about them apples?
Yep.
How about them apples? How about food and dessert?
I always enjoy a good bacon cheeseburger with fries, and definitely can't go wrong with some cookies and milk sometimes.
Oh, I thought he was coming with creme brulee, Ches. I thought creme brulee was coming our way. I was about to lose it.
The 3P.
Yeah.
Yep. No, pinky's out, 3P.
Wait, no, he's keeping it straight up America with cookies and chocolate. Or did you say chocolate milk or just normal milk?
I mean, I love chocolate milk, but
yeah.
Don't be a savage, Clay. There's chocolate in the cookies. I mean, come on.
I thought he was going straight up savage mode with. His name is Kainoa. The guy's a warrior. Okay, the guy.
That's true.
probably is gonna hunt us down and hang us by our toenails for all we know. But I'm just kidding. You seem like a nice guy. Let's see. I got another question. Oh yes. What do you like to do for hobbies outside of the markets?
I enjoy reading, exercising, and snow skiing.
Nice. Now this. I hope this isn't. I don't. If this is racist, I apologize. But did you grow up in Hawaii? Because you seem to have a Hawaiian name.
Yes, my name is Hawaiian,
Okay.
but I grew up in Massachusetts.
Okay. But you have Hawaiian heritage somewhere down the road.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Was that racist of me? Are you offended right now, Kanoa?
No, 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 not at all.
And he
Everybody
logged off the podcast.
and okay, good. I mean, in this day and age, I don't know what I'm half. You just don't. Everybody, you got to be so tender. And I'm not. But
No.
that looked like a Hawaiian name
Believe it
to
or
me.
not-
So I think I wish I was Hawaiian. So,
Yeah, usually when I introduce myself, most people think, "Oh, is that Hawaiian?"
okay.
So you're not far.
All right. Well, you start to call me Kleinoa from now on.
You wish.
That's kind of because I really do want to be.
It sounds
Hawaiian.
good.
Yeah. I don't know though.
Kleinoa.
But I don't like needles, and all those Hawaiian warriors have tattoos all over the place. But anyways, we are spinning way off a topic here. You told us what kind of exercise, or wait, no, what school did you go to? I was curious. First off, I meant to ask you this a long time ago.
Yeah, I studied electrical engineering at UMass Dartmouth.
You're an electrical engineer.
Yep.
Oh goodness, ones and zeros.
It's rigged. Another engineer.
That is one
Jeez, it's
engineer.
rigged.
I could not. I took one electrical engineering class. I think I got like a C in that thing, and that was like basic. Oh my! Props to you, man. Holy smokes! Yeah, you definitely need to get more in that advanced option stuff because yeah, you like the numbers and the man. Yeah, well done. Did I know that you were an electrical engineer? Had you told me that before? I don't think you have.
I may have when I first signed up to CTU, I think I sent you an email just kind of introducing myself. I might have mentioned it. I forget.
Anyways, that's well, here's just a listen. I mean, that's a good safety net. So I mean, even if you really should not be putting too much pressure on yourself as far as trading, I get it. You want to do it and all that sort of thing, but it's not like that's not a sought after degree. But so UMass,
Yeah.
What is your mascot? Why can't I think of that? UMass.
Well, you may be thinking the UMass Amherst is the Minutemen.
Yeah, that's who I'm thinking of. Is that not who you went?
Yeah. No, I went to UMass Dartmouth, which is just a different flagship school.
Okay, yeah, just a different campus.
And we were
Gotcha.
we were Division III, so you probably wouldn't hear about our sports.
Okay,
We weren't necessarily great at sports.
that's if only sports actually mattered, which apparently I think they do it sometimes on Saturday afternoons in the fall, but they actually don't matter that much at all. So no,
As the veins pop out of your neck
the
and
blood
your
pressure.
family has to go hide in the basement.
Yeah, no, that's.
I know you-
Anyways, all right, man. Well, 3 words, and these 3 words need to be associated with, or what you would associate with either a successful trade or what you believe it takes to be successful. So, what would those 3 words be?
I think the first one would be ambition. Just because if you want to take on trading, you got to be willing to put the time and effort into it. Discipline and patience.
That's music to my ears. I fully agree. Well, Kanoa, this has been a great time. Luckily, we're going to be hanging out here in just a little bit while longer, but we'll certainly have to have you back. And I don't know, just as an electrical engineer, I bet you could make some bank tutoring. Like if you try to get out there and try to tutor some kids in something, there's some money right there. I mean, you're clearly smart enough to do that, even if it's basic math. I don't know. I'm just trying to think out loud, but I think you have a lot of upside. You're clearly a smart dude. So yeah, thank you for hanging out and taking time out of your evening. And will you come back again at some point?
Absolutely.
Perfect. Good. Chesney was a great guest, wasn't he?
Fantastic. Great guest. Great name.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's all we have for you. So thank you, Kainoa. And we will see. I'll be seeing in a little bit, but we'll definitely have to have you back at another time. For you listeners out there, final few things before we go. If you are listening on YouTube, make sure to check out the rest of the channel. There's more to the channel than just these interviews, live trade videos, quick tip videos. There's vlogs, review videos. There's all sorts of stuff. So make sure to check out the channel. and hopefully you decide to ultimately subscribe. If you are listening on iTunes or any of the other players, subscribe, and especially on iTunes, if you could leave us a rating, that goes a long way and truly does help us out, and we would appreciate that. And then finally, if you're listening at claytrader.com on the show notes page, make sure to click that share button and leave us comments below, whether that be feedback or questions or just anything. We will definitely reply as if you're willing to reach out to us, we are more than happy to reach out back to you. So again, thank you to all of you as listeners. Thank you, Kainoa. Thank you, Ches. We'll see you all back next week.
This has been the Stock Trading Reality Podcast. Thanks for taking the time to hang out. To learn more about Clay and the Clay Trader community, including the trading team, premium training, and more, visit claytrader.com.